Welcome back to Let's Talk Zoning. I'm your host, Rosetta Taylor, and today we have that special guest, Corey Hudson. Corey, how are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. I woke up this morning, went to the nature trail, took in some natural air, and it feels really good. So,
Oh,
what did you do? What
perfect.
did you do this morning?
I actually had a great morning walk today. I did about 2 miles and came on back home and got excited for this podcast.
Oh, thank you for being excited about it. I'm excited too because Let's Talk Zoning has been on a hiatus for a minute. But we had to come back with some different creative. And so today, let's start out with our new listeners. Let's Talk Zoning is an industry podcast. Our industry is the zoning due diligence world. We provide a product called the zoning report, and different firms call them something different. Everybody has their own name for this product. But basically, a zoning report is a snapshot of the zoning conditions of a property that is the target of an acquisition or refinance. And to be able to build this product, it takes so many helping hands and different types of experiences and hard work to get this product out the door for your acquisition or refinance. So today's topic is different experiences that we have with municipalities. Um, we have to contact the city, the county, and townships, villages, because we provide that nationwide service. We run into different type of personalities, different processes, even though we're requesting the same information. So, Corey, let me just kind of start with you with
Sure.
what type of information we request from the municipality, and then I'll kind of chime in.
When it comes to municipality research, it's kind of, I would say it's broad. For instance, we reach out to municipalities for what we call public information or FOIA information. So that information can comprise of code enforcement violations. We want to know if they have any zoning violations and building violations and fire violations. We also reach out to them for what we call a zoning verification letter. It's a pretty much just a verification letter that goes over the zoning aspect of the property. What is the zoning? Whether or not the use is permitted. Questions related to the actual property in the zone that it affects. We also ask for certificate of occupancy. This is a permit that is issued once a project has been inspected and ready for occupancy, people to actually be able to use the property. And lastly, and not least, we also ask for things like uh, site plans and or variances. These are different types of permits that pertain to the property's use or, its approvability based on whatever the case is. So, for instance, if the use is something that's not usually allowed in that particular area, they get issued, a special kind of permit. So we typically request these documents to include them into the report.
Yeah. And it sounds easy, right? We just request these documents from the
Right.
municipality. So from the outside looking in, it's like that's all they do. They just go in and request documents from the municipality. No, that it takes it's a science behind this, right?
It certainly is.
It is
It's
a
definitely a
science. It
science.
is, you got to be prepared. You got to be organized. You got to be a really great project manager to keep up with these requests because it's not just like we're working in one jurisdiction. So I live in the greater Atlanta area. I'm not just requesting documents from the greater Atlanta area. We provide nationwide services. So with respect to like the zoning letter, we
Right.
all know, okay, we just need a zoning letter from the municipality. You would think it's easy to just contact the municipality and say, hey, I need a zoning letter. Who do I need to email?
Right.
No, it's processes. So give
Oh,
me give me a couple of experiences that you've had with municipalities with different type of processes.
right. So municipalities in general, every last one of them is very, very different, no matter what state you're in. I mean, there's tons of jurisdictions in each state, right? So you can be in Georgia and have hundreds of different municipalities. They're all going to treat the processes differently. So that's one thing you have to remember too. Not everything's going to be the same. When you go to request documents or, request for records request, it's going to be always different wherever you go. And you kind of have to treat it like that too, because if you don't, you'll lose your mind.
Yeah, like you can't go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did here. So, for example, since we're talking about the greater Atlanta area, with the city of Atlanta, when you request a zoning letter from the city of Atlanta, you have to complete a form. Their form is online. You need to submit an auto survey along with the form through an email, correct?
Yep.
And then they'll either accept or reject your request. If they accept it, they'll send you an invoice link to go pay for it. And I believe it's $100 for the city of Atlanta zoning letter.
Right.
Then after you pay for it, you have to take the receipt and email it to them. And then 7 to 10 business days, you're supposed to get your zoning letter. But what in our experience,
right,
once we follow up, they forgot about it. So then they have to like rush it and try to get it out. So that's something else that we'll touch on is like the follow-up process with the municipalities. So that's one. That's just give you an example on just the zoning letter portion of the city of Atlanta.
Right. And you know what I wanted to say about the municipalities too, that a lot of them are bound to certain requirements by the state or local governments to like respond by certain times. So, we kind of like rely on them to stand up to their word, right? They had to respond in 10 days. We need a response within 10 days. And when you're getting volume in and you're submitting all these requests and you're supposed to be, very organized. So you'll have your charts together. You'll know when certain things are due, when something's coming up, and, trying to get these municipalities to follow their own rules. It's just another fight. And it's never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment.
And when they don't stick to those deadlines, it kind of puts pressure on the analysts, right? On the zoning analysts from our client, because we're telling our client like, it's supposed to take 7 to 10 business days, but they're behind. But we're going to tap into that too, because there has been a change in the industry with respect to municipal responses. So we're definitely going to tap into that as well. One experience I did want to tap into with municipalities is the city of Dallas. Have you worked with the city of Dallas lately?
Lately, no, but a few months ago, I would say yes.
All right. So the city of Dallas public records process, it's way better than it was 6 months ago. I think 6 months ago it was taking at least 45 days to get responses through the public records.
Right.
But now it's like they're responding in a timely fashion.
Okay.
With respect to their zoning verification letters, there's been some changes in the department. So you know how on the form, first of all, you have to have a form completed. On the form, you have an option to get a zoning letter in 3 days.
Yes.
Which is $110. So we'll mark that 3 days, $110, but we won't see a zoning letter for like 30 days.
Absolutely. I had that experience.
That goes into what you said with respect to, there's different laws and ordinances that they're supposed to abide by with time frames and fees. We're paying the fee, but we're not getting the response that we desire in a timely fashion. What's another jurisdiction? And we're not just going to call out the ones that we've been, seeing not really sticking to the program, but even ones that do stick to the program. What's some jurisdictions that, some experiences that you've had?
I would say, well, like most people who are in the zoning world know about New Jersey in general, right? New Jersey is probably one of the more difficult municipalities.
Be sensitive, Corey. Be sensitive when you talk about New Jersey. Go
ahead. I love Jersey. I got friends and family out there. Jersey is a fantastic state, but their municipalities have their way of working. And listen, we have learned to work with their time frame. We have learned to work with their time.
We don't, and you know what it is? We don't have a choice. Like Jersey lets you know, We got it. We gonna work on it, and that's it. They're
Right.
not gonna give us a time frame. They're
Right.
not gonna. They don't want to even hear you ask them how they're doing. They're just like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. We gonna skip the greeting part, you know." So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how they are, and that's who they are. Yeah. Jersey is like
yeah,
that.
and we can't change that. Only thing we can do, what I suggest to all of my team with Jersey, is just make sure you requested it correctly. Because if you
Right.
miss one thing on their forms,
Forget it.
forget it. You didn't request it correctly. You got to start all over.
Yep, that is correct.
And follow up. Like those jurisdictions, if you follow, you have to follow up with New Jersey
Yeah.
because you're not on you're not on their list to
No,
do anything for.
absolutely.
They have other things to do. So, that's definitely important. So Jersey's definitely one. I'm glad we talked about that. And I hope somebody from the Jersey municipality listens to this podcast so
Yes,
y'all can know, like, we're just trying to get our work done, and
that's
we
it.
wish that y'all could just be a little bit more responsive, and
That's
it'll be greatly appreciated.
that's it.
What's
And then
another municipality experience, Corey?
right, and then there's another like their neighbor, New York. New York has
New York City?
yeah, New York City is like one of the easiest places to do municipal work for because all their information is online. Their processes to request a zoning letter is very, very easy. It's 1, 2, 3, done. Like there's no issues with New York City. And you would think it's a big city, this is
Well,
more complicated. It's
yeah.
such a cinch to get through their
They got
process because
their-
they made it step by
Yeah.
step.
They definitely have their online process together. The only problem that I've witnessed the past couple of weeks, because they did lose an employee.
Yes,
Yeah, and I
long
don't want to say
term.
any names,
Love her.
but so in the zoning letter department, she was turning those things around, and within 5 business days.
Yeah,
That
she was
even
on
part
top of
my
it.
marketing. That was even part of my marketing on LinkedIn. Like, hey, we're getting zoning letters in 5 business days from New York. Get your zoning report today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she was on top of it.
So when she retired, it's like, okay, we're a month into not receiving our zoning letters.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we paid for them, we followed the processes, we followed up. And one of the directors there did call me last week at New York City and expressed that, they're trying to train somebody, they're working on them, they know they're behind. So they are working on them. They're just trying to get somebody else
Right.
trained up to take on that task. And while we're on that topic of training,
Right.
let's jump into that. So a lot of the experiences that we had 4 years ago with municipalities are not the same experiences that we're having now in 2023. So the industry didn't just crash in real estate. To me, and what I've experienced with these municipalities, it affected them as well. Because what I'm noticing is that they're rehiring, right? And then they have to retrain.
Yes.
And what I'm noticing when I'm communicating with these municipalities is that sometimes I'm teaching their planners how to use the layers on the GIS map, or how to get to what section of the code they need to help me with. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, that's what I'm witnessing on, when I'm communicating with these municipalities. What are some things that you're witnessing?
Yeah, it's actually, there's a big, big difference. I do notice that since the pandemic, all of the short staffing has it's been really bad for a lot of places. They can't find people to work in these roles. So everything is behind. Every request is behind. And it's like they can't get or like keep up, a lot of the time when you call them, it's someone else who doesn't work in that department sometimes that's answering the phone and say, oh, I'm just helping out so-and-so. They're out on break. I don't even know what you're even asking about. So a lot of the times it's someone who doesn't know, what you're requesting or what that document may be, or when it comes to emails, sometimes a person only answers emails once a week. So you have to try to get them in that time and get all your information in at that one moment. So, it's been very, very complex after the pandemic's happened. everything is much slower now. They're trying to train new people to do these sometimes very complex things. Zoning is not so easy, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes these things are complex, and the people who they're training, it's going to take some time for them to, get up to speed. And that's kind of like what delays our stuff as well.
And something else is sometimes we're getting a lot more zoning letters with the wrong zoning on it. And so when I look at the zoning letter, I'm like, I know I got the right zoning off that map. And then we go back and we bring it to those planners' attention. They're like, I'm so sorry. But it's like, how is it possible that you wrote an entire letter, you sent it through your director, he reviewed it, and you still sent it with the wrong zoning? Right. So a lot of times, and a lot of times, like I tell my team, they're not always right. And we have to be confident in the reports that we write. Unless they say this property was rezoned or the map online is not updated. Right. Sometimes we got to question that wrong zoning letter, and definitely review those documents. There's a lot of different, and that's what I try to let my clients know, like try to explain to them, like what's going on at these municipalities. It's not like we didn't request the information. It's not like we're not following up. It's really the municipalities trying to get their stuff together.
Right.
And, what's something that you feel like we could do on our end to make it easier for the municipalities to respond in a timely fashion?
That's a great question, actually. What I've noticed when it comes to trying to get them to respond is,
with the exception of New Jersey, because we know they're not okay. So we're not talking about New Jersey. Go ahead, Corey.
Right. So what I've noticed, one of the easiest things to do is to make sure that you're requesting it from the right place, that your request is really, really clear. There's no like gray area. There's no like question of like, wait, what are you really asking for? Like, I think that has worked for me. Sometimes, having to make that phone call always works, because if you know exactly where you're requesting the documents from and you know who's actually the person in charge of that document, it makes it a little bit easier. Yes, it's a little time consuming, but I'd rather it be right than to have to go back and fix it again and make sure it's updated correctly. So I would say there's like really good clarity and making sure you're in the right place at the right time, and following up. Obviously, your follow-up is going to be your best friend. Follow-up can be tedious, right? Because sometimes they don't always respond to emails. Sometimes they don't always respond to your voicemail. So you have to continuously do it. At least you want to know that, hey, I'm working on it. Hey, I will have it done on this day. You want to just make sure they're moving their butts so you can get some of these documents in. So I just found that being very clear and in the right place is usually the best. How I got responses back.
You know what I found, because I test things out a lot. So what I found helpful, and I'll be sending this new form out to my team later on this week, is that I had to simplify the questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got to understand they are training new people.
Right.
Training younger people.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to think about the new generation of people that's coming into this industry.
Right.
And they don't really want to read that much.
No. So it has to be in lane terms. Absolutely.
I don't want to trigger anything, but I felt like I had to simplify the form for them to quickly read it and be able to respond. So
yes,
I think simplifying things is going to help the jurisdictions be able to reply faster, because not only are they short questions now, but it's like, oh, okay, I get what they need.
Right to the point, right?
Like, straight to the point.
Yeah, I've done that myself too with requesting. Like, I've definitely changed over the years of like how I'm requesting, because it has to be really simple, because it has to be like, it's A and B is here or C and D is there. Like, it's like plain and simple. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, straight to the point. Because if they got to think outside of anything, then it's, oh, well, I got to look into it. That's what we don't want to hear. Because if they got to look into it, we probably will not get the response that we need in a timely fashion. Absolutely. So definitely simplify. Yes. I mean, the thing is too, with this podcast on municipality experiences, this can go on and on because, again, we've worked with so many jurisdictions. We're nationwide due diligence firm, right?
Absolutely.
So, but we don't, we don't want to take up the whole podcast minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about the different experiences that we have with municipalities, especially with Corey Hudson, because we've been working together for some years now, and
Absolutely.
we've had these experiences together on a different level.
Right.
So I appreciate you joining the podcast. I hope to have you back again.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah, our next special guest I'll be announcing by the end of this week. Did you have anything else or any closeout or shout outs that you wanted to do?
Sure. I do want to say about the municipalities before we go is that there are some municipalities who, when you send them, a template of what you need for the particular property, they are excellent at getting this stuff to you 24, 48, 72 hours after you made that request. So there's a lot of great municipalities out there. Sometimes the smaller municipalities are able to get things out much quicker, and sometimes they're not. But I do want to mention that some municipalities are really great and they're really fast, and their response time is good. And usually that's because they don't have that much volume, right? Because it's more stuff done. So, that's how.
What would be ideal is if everybody's zoning verification letters were as easy as the city of Los Angeles.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be ideal?
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that can be a process where someone can go around and getting everybody on the same page as far as zoning letters.
I'm sure like people are out there offering that. It just depends on the jurisdiction.
Right. That's a great piece. That would be great. Universally have one thing, and that would change the whole industry, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it would. So, but we don't want to get put out of job, Corey, because you
No, we don't. We want to keep pushing forward, right? No, listen.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Please tune in and listen to Let's Talk Zoning Podcast, Municipality Experiences, with your host, Rosetta Taylor, and our special guest, Corey Hudson. This will be loaded on YouTube. Please like and subscribe, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Thank you.